We haven't transplanted that to the spiritual world. So we've kept Krishna consciousness as more like a sideline activity in our world, in our life. But until Krishna consciousness becomes completely our life, we will never get that as spiritual attachment. You can't do spiritual life, 20 minutes for Mangalarti, 5 minutes for Tulsi Puja, 2 hours for some japa, and then you go back to reading the paper and, looking at the girls and buying something you haven't eaten today. You cannot put Krishna consciousness on the shelf to enjoy material life and then pick it up on your convenience. You can do, but you won't make spiritual advancement. It's called Taranga Rangani. It's the offenses that we get. When you're chanting very nice, one day you're very fired up and you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then other days it collects dust and you sleep all day. What does that? Why does that happen? Because we make offenses. There's Jiva Aparad, Prasad Aparad, Dham Aparad, Nam Aparad, Vaishnava Aparad, Guru Aparad. So there's a lot of things to be concerned about. But it's not so much the concern of making aparad as it's the need to pray to be Krishna conscious. You see, you have a body that's makes mistakes, cheating ability, and imperfect senses and illusion. So you're destined by law of nature to make offenses. We're prisoners, we live in a prison, and it's filled with strict laws, and everybody here are bad guys. Somehow or another, by the mercy of the Lord, He's entered into our world, but through Prabhupada's mercy, coming all the way from Goloka Vrindavan, crossing the 9 million mile Viraja River, coming into this Mahatattva, and into our Brahmanda with invitation cards. Here, you can all go home now. So Prabhupada has established a process by which we can go home back to Godhead. Not just simply be philosophers. Prabhupada doesn't want us to be, yes, we understand philosophy. Yes, we defeat the Mayavadis. Yes, we're on a mission to save conditioned souls. But we're also individually needing to advance spiritually. And the only way we can do that is that we talk about Krishna. If we don't talk about Krishna, then it's just philosophical. Then we just leave. We become material again. Yeah, dressed as a devotee, we wear the tilak, and we got the clothes and stuff. But when your consciousness is, hi, how are you? How's it going? Where's your, how's your friends? Then you're material. You're only showing a show of spiritual life. This is called hypocrite. This is called sahaja. See, many people are afraid to talk about Krishna because they think they'll slide into some place that's unknown and forbidden. But Krishna consciousness, if followed by the process of the guidance of the spiritual master, strictly following Vaidhi Bhakti, you can enter into Raganuga Bhakti very quickly, very safely, and under the protection of the spiritual master. Don't be afraid of Krishna. He's only a little boy. He plays a flute. He has no weapons. You see Durga, she's got weapons. Ram's got weapons. Hanuman's got weapons. Ganesha's got weapons. Everybody's got weapons. But you look at a picture of Krishna and he's got a flute. He's a sweet little boy. And he's got these wonderful, first to finish, he has these beautiful big chest. And on his right side, on his left side, he has this golden hair called the Lakshmi hair. And on his right chest, he has a silver hair called the Srivatsa. And in his belly, he has a very beautiful 3 folds in his stomach. And his waist is very thin. And he has wide hips like a woman. And he wears a yellow dhoti that represents his consciousness of thinking about Radharani. And that's why Radharani wears a blue sari. She's always thinking of Krishna. And then the golden ankle bells at the bottom of his feet. And his beautiful moon-like fingernails. And his beautiful lotus feet that appears to look, if on first glance you would see Krishna's feet to appear to be like lotus petals. Krishna has 5 parts of his body that's lotus-like. Lotus eyes, lotus face, lotus hands, lotus feet, and lotus navel. Krishna has 5 parts of his body that's fine. He has fine teeth, fine head hair, fine body hair, fine skin. Did I miss one? And Krishna has 7 parts of his body that's red. He has red eyes, red palate, red tongue, red lips, red feet, and red hands. Oh, Padma. He has Padmanabha. He has also a lotus belly. Krishna has a beautiful 3-fold bending form. And his eyes are so attractive that when the new girls come into Vrindavan, the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law, they tell the little girl, they say, Saki, you stay in the house. Yeah, but I want to see Krishna too. You're all seeing Krishna. Why can't I see Krishna? Because we've been bitten by the poison of Krishna's charm. You have not been bitten, and therefore you're still something, you can still do service, you can still do something. You're valuable. So we don't want you to be bitten by that snake. Yeah, but I want to see. No. Yes, no. So you put in the door, Krishna, and then they lock the door. Then when Krishna is coming home, he plays the murli, because the murli has a very low voice, and so a low sound. And so when Krishna enters into the land of Vrindavan, the people are not waiting for a long time because they've heard this beautiful sound of the flute. The murli has a flute that the sound comes very quickly because it's a very low sound. So when you hear the flute, Krishna's almost right there at the same time. So Mother Yasoda, who's drooling, and eyes are pouring water, breast milk soaking her dress. Mother Yasoda changes her dress 17 times a day. Krishna eats 17 times a day and changes his clothes 17 times a day. Krishna eats 3 times before breakfast. He gets up in the morning at 3:36 by Vrindadevi, who got him in the kunjas with Radhika and all the gopis and manjaris. And from 3:36 to 6 o'clock, Vrindadevi sends all of her birds and all of the monkeys and all the different servants that she has in the forest to wake up Priya Pritam, the beloved and lover. But they never want to get up. Their problem is they don't want to get up. They don't want to get up. They don't want to get up. And Lalita and Vishaka and Champaklata and Induleka and Tungavijaya and Rangadevi and Sudevi, they're all there. Everyone's there. And they're all trying to encourage, come on, Jatila will check your bed at 6 o'clock. Mother Yasoda will be checking your bed at 6 o'clock. Come on, you guys, let's go. Come on. So every day it's a fight. Every day it's a fight, a 3-hour fight to get up. Yes, get up. No. Yes, no. Yes. So finally one day, Krishna decides, okay, I'll get up. You're right, Vrindadevi, maybe you're right. Maybe I should get back. Now, if you don't know who Lalita is a very, very loyal, very fight to the death for Radharani. And so when she's sitting there and she hears Krishna say, you want to go? And then Krishna immediately, Lalita says to Radharani, he never wants to leave you. Why today does he want to leave you? Something's going on. Lalita's always very suspicious of that boy. So what happens is Radha and Lalita and Vishaka, they head toward Yavat, back to their home. And Krishna heads down along the Jamuna on their way back to his house. So Lalita is very suspicious. She's wondering what's going on. So Lalita takes Radharani and says, let's just go over here and check real quick, see what's going on. So Krishna comes around, Lalita and Radharani, they come around the corner, and through the bushes, they see Krishna in the arms of Chandravali. And Lalita just, you see that? Do you see that? That black unreliable? You go over there and you go knock him out. So Radharani, and Krishna's holding on very nicely, and he looks up and goes, oh God, oh Jesus, oh. Chandravali, I gotta go. So Krishna turns into a naga, a snake, and jumps into the Jamuna River to swim to the other side. And Radharani, not letting that black unreliable to get away, she turns into a peacock and flies to the other side, waiting for that boy to get out of the water. And when that naga comes out, the peacock and the snake, they go into a very brutal battle. He's wrapping around, and the talons of the peacock are poking, and finally the snake says, okay, you've won. You have victory over me, you have victory over my heart, and I want to show the world eternally that you have won me over, you have won me. So Krishna then at that time takes the peacock feather from her and puts it in his head. In case you've ever wanted to know why Krishna has a peacock feather, this is why. See, the peacock feather never came into Krishna's life until after he started to associate with the gopis, because that represents their sporting, dancing fun. And the flute never came either. Flute actually manifested out of Krishna's heart. And when Krishna plays the flute, it has all the potencies to control all things. So when Krishna lifts over, when he plays the first note, Brahma, who is the creator of music and material life, he knows everything about this material world, gets bewildered. Wow, how does he play that? Shiva, Indra, Agnidev, all of the great stalwart demigods, they all become twisted. They can't figure out how does he play that flute. Then as Krishna waits for the moon to get in proper position in the night, it'll form into a perfect place across the Jamuna River with all the lighting, perfect in the trees and everything. And then Krishna will play that second note and will stop the moon. And then as the water is flowing very nicely, Krishna then plays the third flute note, which stops the Jamuna River, makes water into rocks, rocks into water, and makes the mountains perspire. So sometimes the birds will be drinking water, and Krishna will play that note, and they get stuck. So Krishna has to play it again, so the birds can come up out of the water. And then the fourth note, the beautiful fourth note that stops the cows and calves and deer from eating their grass. When the grass is, by the way, in Vrindavan, in Goloka Vrindavan, the grass grows immediately right back. So when the cows take a bite, so they never leave anywhere. They all stay right there with the boys. So the boys don't have to even care about the cows, and they can go and play because the cows aren't going anywhere. But sometimes when they hear that beautiful sound of the fourth note of Krishna's wonderful Vamsi, the cows will, and their ears will go up, their tail will go up, their mouth will drop open, and they'll just listen with grass falling out of their mouth. Calves that will be taking milk with filled, all these guys chewing pond, right? Oh, we got all this milk in the milk, And they sit there, and when they hear that beautiful sound of Krishna's flute, they just, and it just drips out of their mouth. They don't even swallow. And the deer, of course, the deer also. When Krishna plays his fifth note, this is called the Kama Gayatri, and this cannot be heard by anybody except the cows and the gopis. So that's why, because it's in Madhurya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, Sakya Bhav, they cannot hear this flute because they're in a different mood. It's like when Krishna was tied up to the mortar, the boys tried to untie him, but they couldn't untie him. Only Nanda could untie because he was tied by the ropes of Vatsalya Bhav, not Sakya Bhav. So the Sakyas, they could not undo this. So everything is locked up according to the prema of the devotee. So when Krishna plays the fifth note, the gopis are like pulled out into the forest. But before they go, Krishna plays it at 9:48. Krishna leaves at 9:30. Actually 9:36. He leaves his house. He lives in a house that's 64 rooms big, 5-story high. Nanda Baba was not a poor boy. He was very wealthy. In fact, so much opulences were there. And Krishna lives in the east side, on the first floor, with a tree growing right out his window. He has 4 cupboards in the 4 corners of his room, and his bed is beautifully white like the foam of milk. And he has these pearl strings that come down and go over the top of the bed, so that when the moonlight shines through the windows, Krishna will not be bothered. But we know he's not even home. He leaves at 9:36. Yes, Mata? Yes, of course I can. I'm sorry. I completely... Shall we do that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. As will be described in the following verses, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, such speculators are themselves bewildered and thus cannot know that the ultimate cause of all causes is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So without the will of the Lord, you can't even make advancement. And aparad will always be there throughout all your gradations of advancement. You start off with Shraddha. Shraddha has brought you to Krishna. Through the Shraddha, you develop Jai, Gaur Nitai, Ki Jai Ho, Jai Shri Radha Krishna-Balarama, Jai Shri Radha Shyamasundar. Because the faith, we need to stir the faith. We need to encourage more faith. And that faith will then give us bhajan. Sadhu Sangha. The thing that we're missing in our spiritual life, actually, if we should be honest, is the fact we have no Sadhu Sangha. We never talk about Krishna. We never speak of the transcendental platform. We usually talk about ourselves or others. But if we can talk about Krishna and control the tongue by saying something about Kaniya, about that little boy who steals hearts and butter and clothes and minds, talk about him, then we have Sadhu Sangha. That will build the faith. And when the faith is built through the Sadhu Sangha, then our worship will come naturally from within our hearts. We will start to do the proper prayers. We will start to do bhajan, and that is called bhajana kriya. Once that bhajan is established within our hearts, then anartha nivritti will happen automatically. All of the bad habits, all of the bad wants, all the things that we don't want in our hearts will go away from our bhajan, which is established from Sadhu Sangha. So we need to talk more about Krishna, to establish more Sadhu Sangha in order to genuinely make spiritual advancement. Some devotees say, well, we can't talk so much about Krishna because I'm not qualified. But what will make you qualified? 10,000 slokas that you memorize? 400 different, 1,000 times you've taken darshan of the deities? What will qualify you? You see, the unfortunate thing about our material world is that we do not get qualified. Our qualification is that we have no qualification. As long as you got money in your pocket, you don't surrender to Krishna. As long as you got some intelligence, you don't think about Krishna. As long as you got your friends to laugh and joke around with, you don't think about Krishna. And as long as you've got a building to sit around and sleep and eat in, you don't think about Krishna. But Prabhupada didn't establish all this not to think about Krishna. There's only one instruction. Always remember Krishna and never forget. Following 4 regulated principles, chanting 16 rounds, getting up in the morning, taking a call. This is all so you can remember Krishna. We read the Bhagavatam to remember Krishna. We take prasadam to remember Krishna. But we're not remembering. We're not even doing it. We force ourselves to get up in the morning. We force ourselves to chant Hare Krishna. But where's the love? Where's the bhakti? People chant Hare Krishna like they're in some kind of a boxing round. Round 1, round 2, round 3. I mean, they're like fighting. Krishna prema pradayate. Will that come by boxing with your name, with the name of Krishna? No. Why is the fight there? And when you take prasadam, don't just eat food to fill your belly, which will turn to stool tomorrow morning. Honor the Lord's mercy. How do you do that? You take a piece of the prasad and you look at it and you say, Jai Shri Radha Shama Sundar. And as you meditate on Krishna, as you're chewing, you meditate on that deity. Then the next bite, Jai Shri Radha Madan Mohan. And you meditate. Jai Shri Radha Govinda. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath. Jai Shri Radha Damodar, Jai Shri Gokulananda, Jai Shri Radha Madhava, Jai Shri Murlidhar, Jai Shri Vansidhar, Jai Shri Venudhar. There's so many names. And if you put yourself into the meditation of making the effort to be Krishna conscious, Krishna will give you the facility to remember if you make the desire. The only difference between a neophyte and an advanced devotee is his desire. Do you know what quality japa is? What is the symptom of quality chanting? Is when you don't want to stop. Now you know you're quality chanting. When you get up in the morning and all you can think of is what will Krishna be wearing today. You see, all of the pujas that we have in Gaudiya Vaishnava society all correspond with the Astaka Liya Lila, with Krishna's 24-hour day of life, his pastimes. Mangalartik is Brinda Devi coming with her birds to wake them up so they can go back to their homes. We are those birds. We are that hummingbird, that pigeon, that parrot. And so softly, with soft, sweet serenade, which is what Prabhupada said, here in this temple in 1975, we had a rock and roll kirtan early in the morning. Everybody's trying to impress each other with their madanga playing and their fancy dancing and their cool, fancy speaking. Prabhupada was upstairs translating the books. He came downstairs, and there was only about 3 of us foreigners and maybe about 5 or 6 Bengali boys. And immediately Prabhupada said, And through the kirtan, through the mridangas, and through the screaming and yelling and freaking out, we heard Prabhupada say, stop. Turn around, Prabhupada's standing right there. We pay our obeisances. Prabhupada says, what are you doing? It's 4:30 in the morning. The Lord should be serenaded with soft, sweet song. And then he looked at us like this and left. Well, I don't want to be chastised because, following the wrong guy, Prabhupada says soft, sweet serenade. So Mangalarti should not be a place to impress your music abilities or your singing abilities or your dancing. It's a time for Krishna's pleasure. We are waking up Krishna. And if you chant the rounds for Krishna's pleasure, you take prasadam for Krishna's pleasure, you change your consciousness, and it's very practical. You can do it. When you come to see darshan of the deities, like right now, how many garlands are on the altar? How many rings are on Lalita's fingers, on Radharani's fingers, on Krishna's fingers? How many tulsi leaves are on Krishna's feet? You can look, and you meditate on the details. People come up to see the deities and they go, Jai, and then they walk away. Did you see the deities? Yeah, they were beautiful. What were they wearing? Immediately. What did you see? What's beautiful? It's like sometimes I ask the devotees, can you tell me something about Krishna? And they say, oh, Krishna's great. Yeah, well, on a good day, when my health is good, my stool is great too. So is God great because his stool? Is he great like stool? No, tell me what about Krishna? Talk about Krishna. Don't spend your time avoiding Krishna. Get to know that little boy. Spend time with your rounds. And when you're in kirtan, try to think, this isn't for my sense gratification. This is for their pleasure. Because sense gratification will come. You're going to enjoy. Don't be insecure about that. By giving to Krishna, automatically you will enjoy. How many kirtans have you relished in the years gone by? There was no shortage. Sometimes you couldn't even get home. You were floating so high in the air from the ecstasy. There's no shortage. But we shouldn't be so selfish. We should try to really put Prabhupada's instructions to the front of our brain. Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Prayojana. This is not a philosophical agreement. Nice, that's great, give me a pizza. No, come on, let's apply the philosophy. Apply the prayojana. Always remember the goal, that I am a servant of the manjaris that serve the gopis, that serves Radharani, that serves Krishna, that serves the gopis. That's the reality. That's the goal. That's where we're going for. If you keep the goal in the freshness of your mind up front, then while you do the sambandha, while you get to meet Krishna, when you spend time to introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Radhakunda, you're Krishna, right? Hey, nice to meet you. This is what we should be wanting to do with excitement. Because death is coming. We don't have time to be cool. We're only being time to be a fool. Because now we got to meet the jewel. We got to meet Krishna. And we don't have time to argue who's Siddhantically correct. I mean, we know Siddhanta. We got Bhagavad Gita. We got a treasure house of nectar. We can feel safe in our adventure going back home, back to Godhead. We don't have to be afraid. So many people are afraid of this. He's only a little boy. What are you afraid of? Does any of his pastimes show that he's done anything wrong to his devotees? Is there any pastime where the Lord brought the devotee to his knees and made him doubt Krishna's beauty and wonderfulness? No. There's no reason why we not make the adventure to go back home, back to Godhead. That feeling of adventure. But you got to ask. Now, in every single every single story in the Bhagavatam, everyone, 100%, Krishna never helped anybody until they asked. When the land of Vrindavan was being flooded by the floods of Indradev, the water came all the way to the neck. Calves were swimming. The threat of death was on the scene. And Krishna just watched. His mother, his father, all the cowherd boys. He just sat there and watched. Until he said, hey, yo, Krishna, come on, help us out here. Oh, okay. And he immediately lifted Govardhan Hill. When Nanda Baba was being swallowed by the snake, Krishna was standing right there. And he didn't do anything. And then Nanda Baba, he said, hey, son, come on, He said, oh, okay. Gajendra, Draupadi, the Pandavas, every single story in Scripture, Krishna never helped anybody until they asked. So ask. You want to go back to Godhead? Ask. When a little boy says, Mommy, I want some toffee. Well, he's not asking so importantly. He doesn't really care. Mother says, wait until after dinner. But when the baby says, I want toffee, I want toffee, I want toffee. Okay. How much do you want it? You see, Krishna is not a broken glass. You cannot put him in the broken glass desires of this material world. Oh yes, I want Krishna, but I want a Tato Sumo too. Oh, I want Krishna, but I want a Rasgulla. Oh, I want Krishna, but I want some silk. You can't throw a diamond into a bowl of broken glass and expect to think you can cheat and buy it for a piece of cheap glass price. Krishna is a person. He's there. He's watching. But he's very purchasable. He stands waiting for you. Please ask me. I've got your fire digestion. I've got your air. I got your money. I got your popularity. I got it all. And I'm giving it all, casually and freely. But ask for me. I'm the guy who you want to be with, not my stuff. My stuff will make you suffer. Ask for me. This is what Krishna is doing. This is what Prabhupada's doing. This is the invite of the Sampradaya. This is the whole purpose of life, is to fall in love with that black unreliable. And we should want to do that. Because who else is going to be there for you? Death is coming, boys and girls. Who's there to save you? Only that black unreliable. He's the only guy who can do it. Krishna never hurts his devotees. He always takes care of his devotees. Have faith. Have faith in the holy name. Have faith in sadhu sangha. Have faith in the bhajan. Don't keep thinking, yes, Hare Krishna, boy, that's a good looking, Hare Krishna pizza, Hare Krishna. No. Just control yourself for a second. Take the shot. When a man is studying brain surgery, there's parties going on, his girlfriends and boyfriends, things are going on, but he says, no, I'm studying for my test. Sanskrit comes your way. No, I'm studying my test. Because happiness is there in the spiritual world. There's no shortage of in spiritual life, there's no shortage of everything we're trying to have. By trying to have it independently of Krishna, we only get a little bit, we suffer. When you get Krishna to center in on the thing, water the root, bam! Your life is opulent, nice, sweet, gentle, nectar, full of friends, full of kata. But you got to watch for the aparad. But don't be scared. When a little boy is starting to walk, the father is going, come on, baby, make another step, come on, baby. And that baby will be going like this, and he may drop something. Okay, let's move everything out of the way. But does he beat him? You stupid kid, you broke my camera. Bam. No, he says, well, move the camera, move everything out. Okay, let's try it again, baby. Come on, baby. That's Krishna. That's Guru. Come on, baby. Make the effort. Keep coming. Don't worry about the broke. I'll fix the breaking. Krishna doesn't accept our offenses so easily like that. And how much of us are actually Vaishnavas? Not really. Not when you think of somebody like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, Rupa Goswami. Those are Vaishnavas. So don't worry so much about stepping on the toes of each other. We're a bunch of flailing little children just trying to struggle to get out of diapers. So we should really cooperate with each other to work this out together in the spirit of Krishna consciousness. We've lost the spirit. Oh yeah, Nish, Ram, yeah. Hey, how you doing? Wow, far out. Where you coming from? Hey, nice kids. Every time you speak Pajalpa, this is in Shastra, Rupa Goswami says this in the Ujjala Nilamani, that every time you speak Pajalpa, after you're chanting your Hare Krishna mantra, it's like taking pig urine and pouring it all over your Bhakti Lata beach. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Beautiful. I'm thinking about it. So nice. Now, what's on TV? What? So the aparat is there in the Nam. Nam aparat is there all the way. Rupa Goswami, he was a complete self-realized Uttama Adhikari who fixed his mind in bhajan on the heart of Krishna and relished the pastimes 24 hours a day. One day he was in his bhajan kutia and there's no windows, the door was shut, and he's meditating on the beautiful pastimes that were revealing in his heart. A particular pastime where Krishna and Radharani are walking, and Krishna notices a beautiful blossom, big flower in the tree. But Radhika, she couldn't reach it. So Krishna climbed in the tree, lowered the branch with his foot and said, Radha, hold on to the branch and pick that flower. And so Radhika, she grabs the flower. And just as she starts to grab it, Krishna lets go of the branch. And the branch flies up. And Radharani goes flying up into the tree. And everybody starts laughing, all the gopis, all the people. And Rupa Goswami physically laughed out loud. And as he was doing that, just outside his bhajan kutia was a man, a sadhu, with a bad leg, limping. And when he heard the laughter, he's thinking, this Rupa Goswami is making fun of my bad fortune? What kind of a person is this? And immediately Rupa Goswami in his bhajan disappeared. He wakes up, what's going on? What happened? He tries again to get that bhajan back. It won't come back, it won't come back. So in the panic of what has happened, he goes to Sanatan Gosai and he says, my dear Gurudev, Godbrother, I was watching Krishna lower this branch and Radharani started to reach for this flower and then Krishna let go of the branch and he went flying up and we were all laughing and then suddenly it went blank. What happened? He says, oh, you offended somebody. Offended somebody? How could I? My eyes were closed. I was in a room. How could I have offended? He says, yeah, well, you did. Well, what can I do about it? He says, you make a bandara, a feast. And the person who doesn't come, that's the boy you offended. So invite everybody in Braj. So Rupa Goswami makes this big bandara, this big feast, and all the people come, except that one-legged, that limping guy. He didn't come. So Rupa Goswami immediately understood that was the fellow, and he went to him with tears in his eyes, completely saturated in humility, feeling guilt-ridden for offending this sadhu, even though in his heart of hearts, he has no idea how he offended him. But that's the quality of a sweet Rupa Goswami. So he approached that person, he took his lotus feet with tears in his eyes and says, oh, my dear sir, I was watching a beautiful bhajan in my kutia, and I saw the wonderful Krishna pulling down this branch, and Radharani was about to grab this flower, and she was thrown up into the air, and I started laughing, and then suddenly the bhajan went away, and I guess somehow I offended you. And then the man, he started to cry pitifully, feeling so guilty, saying, my dear Rupa Goswami, I thought you were laughing at my bad fortune. I am so sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. So the bhajan came back. So aparad, it's very something you got to consider. But be mature. What is the most important thing of your life? To remember Krishna. Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think that if I was to ask the question, when was the last time any of you spoke about Krishna? I don't think you could answer. Except on an official holiday when we're talking. But just casually, walk up to somebody and say, did you know that Krishna never cut his hair in Vrindavan? He never wore stitched clothes and he never wore shoes on his feet. Hare Krishna. How easy that was to say something about Krishna. Krishna has 3 flutes, Hare Krishna. He's got a Venu flute that's got 6 holes. He's got a Vamsi flute that's got 8 holes. And he's got a Murli that's 22 inches long and it has 4 holes. When Krishna plays, we got to the 5th note, didn't get any farther. When Krishna plays the 6th note, I didn't even finish that whole thing. When the gopis are getting ready to go, when Krishna blows the flute at 9:36, the gopis are immediately ready to go. So they put on earrings and they put on their kajal and they're all decked out. And then they look in the mirror and they say how beautiful they are. And then they say, Manjari, come here. And then they go, keep that in the box. Keep that. Keep that. Takes the necklace off. Keep that. Now, wipe off the lipstick and put kajal. Wipe off the kajal, put lipstick. Now, completely backwards, now let's go see Krishna. So then they run out to see Krishna, and they get there at about 10:48. And at 10:48, the gopis are coming and they're arriving, and Krishna goes, "Oh, you've come, you look so beautiful. Hey, wait a second, you're missing an earring. Let me fix that for you." Then the manjari will come to Krishna, open the box, and he'll fix the earring. "Oh, you're missing your hair? Here, let me do that for you." So the gopis are like, nice. So it's all planned. Women have, 4 times more cunning than men, So we know they can get that sweet nectar from Krishna. When Krishna stands and plays his 6th note, the 6th note brings in the Sharad season, the autumn season, with all the foliage and all the beautiful flowers, and everything is there. And then Krishna plays the 7th note. The 7th note brings in all 6 seasons, and they stand personified, waiting to be instructed by Vrindadevi. And Vrindadevi quickly brings the seasons and say, "Okay, hot season, go into the water of the Radhakunda. Cold season, you go to the north. Winter season, rainy season, you go over here to the south," and like this, fall and everybody. So all the seasons are wrapped around the Radhakunda, and all at one time. So Radha and Krishna and the Sakis, they can collect flowers from all the year, winter flowers, spring flowers. And they get to make these beautiful garlands that are impossible because they're made by flowers that are produced from all year. And when Radha and Krishna walk through Vrindavan, they touch all the plants on all the trees. They touch everything. And that's why in Vrindavan, particularly in Braj, that the trees are all bent over because they've all in love with Krishna and they're bending over. In the world, all the trees are very proud for standing so tall, like the redwoods or the pines, They're all very proud, standing very tall. But in Vrindavan, they're all bent over because they want to touch that sweet little boy's feet. When Krishna was a little boy, he was crawling. His first time at ever crawling. And he came upon, and he had this big red bangle. This big, thick red bangle on his arm. And when he came up, and he came upon a pot of yogurt. And when he saw the pot of yogurt, he was singing, "Oh." And he looks around. Mata's not around. So he starts to put his hand down inside the pot. And just when he gets his hand in the pot, Mother Yasoda walks in. "Kanaya, what are you doing?" Well, you see, there was this bangle, and it's reflecting this hot red light. This red light, and it's very hot. So I put my hand to cool it off. Oh, you rascal boy. One time when Krishna was a little bit older, he had 2 big blue bangles, and they were very big, very loose on his hand. And he's crawling in, and when he crawls, he has this ankle belt with these little bells. So when he crawls, he hears this tingling, tingling, tingling. Stop. Where's that coming from? Tingling, tingling. Tingling, tingling. Can't figure out where that tingling is coming from. So he walks, and as he goes, and he sees a pillar. And there in the beautiful sapphire pillar, he sees a little boy inside the pillar. And he's thinking, "Oh, that must be the boy. He's making that tingly sound." So he tingly, 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 tingly. He walks over to him. And because of the face, he's wonder and, kind of a look of wonder. And of course, the reflection is also looking. And he's going, tingling, 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 all the way back to his mother. So one time when he had these blue bangles and he was eating, he knew that his mother was going to come and catch him, or the gopi. He was in another house. So he's eating very fast. And because he's going so fast, his both hands get stuck in the pot. And the blue bangles are so big, and he's... So the gopi comes in and he goes, "Kanaya, what are you doing in my house eating my yogurt?" And Krishna goes, "This isn't your house, this is my house." Is what? Because the door is open, you think every house is your house? And he says, "Well, it looks like my house, He says, "Well, what did you get your hands in the butter for?" And he says, "Well, I thought this was my mother's house and that was her pot of butter, so I was doing a service and taking the ants out." "Oh, really? What's all this you have all over your mouth?" Well, you see the ants, they were crawling up here and they were putting it on my face. So so the gopi says, oh, you rascal boy, you lie and you cheat, I'm taking you to your mother. Oh, no, Mata, don't take me to my mother. Yes, I'm taking you to your mother. And he says, you cannot take me to my mother. My mother doesn't know I do anything wrong. Well, today she will. Now, give me your hands. And Krishna, the gopi, tries to tie up Krishna, but she doesn't know how to make a knot. She doesn't know how to tie the knot. So Krishna sees, goes, Mata, you may catch me again one day, and if you do, you should know how to tie a good knot. So give me your hands, give me the rope, and I'll show you how to tie a good knot. So the gopi puts her hands out there, and Krishna ties up the bot, ties her up and goes, okay, stand up, we'll walk, test, make sure, So then Krishna will walk the gopi outside, walk out to the outside, and there Madhu Mangal and Gokila and Gandharva and Sudama and all the boys are all there. And they see Krishna calling out with this woman, with his gopi, and Krishna and Madhu Mangal goes, what have you done? And she says, I caught another Makhan chore. So these are wonderful pastimes of Krishna. If we meditate on these pastimes and we speak to each other about Krishna, don't say, how are you? Say, how's your bhajan? How's your spiritual life? See, because I can tell you honestly, and you can ask any Prabhupada disciple, that in the early days of Krishna consciousness, you were not allowed to talk nonsense. You either said, tell me about Krishna, or don't talk. Do you remember those days, girls? You remember? Boys, if you're here? Yeah, you remember, don't you? So, right? If somebody walked up to you and said, wow, great sunset, you'd get 30 devotees go, great sunset? You tell us how that's spiritual or philosophical, or you relate that to Krishna, or you just leave the temple. Well, it's a great sunset because of the color yellow is a lot like Gauranga? Yeah, okay, But that's how it was. It was strict. You weren't allowed to talk pajampa. Today, that's all we talk about. And you're wondering why you're not making spiritual advancement. Because you're pouring pig urine all over your Bhakti Lata beach. As soon as you chant your rounds, it's like the elephant, right? The throwing the dirt on. You chant your rounds and then you toss your rounds like if they got poison on them or something. You can't keep the beads around your neck. You can't keep your hand inside. But if you did, you could chant 64 rounds with no effort. Just keep your hand in your bead bag instead of saying, hey, what's happening? Oh, nice clothes. Hey, far out. Just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And you'll become Krishna conscious. Isn't that what we're here for? I mean, is it a new Hindu social club that we've joined? Or is this our escape route out of this prison? What are you here for? And if you're here for Krishna, then make an effort. Try harder. It's not hard to say, Krishna's blue like a rain cloud. If you want to advance in spiritual life, just add one suggestion I have to offer you. That you say one thing about Krishna to somebody once a day. Now that's not hard. Compared to what our lives were before, you had to talk about Krishna. In fact, you only got one chance to talk nonsense. Then you'd be chastised. We always talked about Krishna. Today, can anybody tell me when the last time they just spontaneously started talking about Krishna to somebody? Last day? Yesterday? A week ago? Month ago? A year ago? 10 years ago? Has anybody talked about Krishna since you've been a Hare Krishna devotee? You should think about these things. This is why Krishna consciousness is so sweet, because Krishna is sweet. Adaram maduram vamitam maduram hasitam maduram vachitam maduram haranam maduram gamanam maduram maduradipater maduram. His face is sweet. His words are sweet. His walk is sweet. His name is sweet. His tilak is sweet. Everything is sweet about the wonderful Lord of sweetness. Take this on, Prabhus. girls and boys, let's take the adventure to go back to Godhead. Let's reignite that fire to make this Krishna consciousness an example of pure devotional service so that the world who is watching will finally say, they got it together. Now they're pure. Because governments have read our books. Great influential people have read our books. They know, they're looking. So they're just waiting for you to pick up the rope and do it right. Because when you become the example, then this world will come to us. Prabhupada said we can take over this world in 18 days, but we can't even take care of this temple in 30 years. How are you going to take care of the world in 30, how are you going to take care of the world? So we got to become Krishna conscious for Prabhupada. We got to become Krishna conscious for the person who brought you to Krishna. We owe them. We owe that black unreliable, his lotus feet. We owe him our service. We're supposed to be devotees. We're supposed to be in love. We're supposed to trust. We're supposed to be happy. It's part of the program. When you say chant Hare Krishna and be happy, and somebody says, I am happy, leave me alone. Okay. Radhe. You talking to me? No, it should be very sweet. Another thing that we used to do in the early days of the Hare Krishna movement is we paid our obeisances to everybody. This is something nobody does anymore. But in the early days, the devotees would come into the temple room, we'd pay our obeisances. Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Each and every devotee, we'd offer our obeisances to one another. And whenever there was a problem, ISKCON immediately. Stop the world, come together. What's the problem? Fix the problem. Pot washer, he's washing pots, he can't stop. He can't go get the pots. The cook, he's cooking. He can't stop to go put the pots to the pot washer. Okay, so you got the pot washer and the cook. They're having a problem with each other. Stop. Everybody come. Have kirtan. Have a wonderful moment. Okay, what is the problem, Mr. Cook? Well, I'm cooking and I got busy and I'm cooking, 25,000 offerings all day long and I ain't got no time to go taking these pots to the pot washer. He's got to come and get them. Okay. Mr. Pot Washer, what's the problem? I'm washing pots all day long. I got 35,000 pots to do. I ain't got no time to go get no pots. He's got to bring them to me. Okay, so the problem is from A to B. That's the problem. Okay, Prabhu, you're finished chanting your rounds around 9 o'clock, aren't you? Oh, yes, I've chanted 32 rounds. Great. What are you doing between 9 and 9:05? I'm willing to render devotional service to you, Prabhu. Thank you for your cooperation. Could you take the pots from the kitchen, take them to the pot washer? Yes, I'll be glad to do that. Thank you very much. Problem solved. Instead of 20 years on that pot washer, I'm going to knock him. 30 years later, Haribol, Prabhu, Haribol. Oh, there's that pot washer guy. The other day, I had one of my god sisters. I was telling her a wonderful pastime about Krishna, and in my mismanaged enthusiasm, I went, yeah! And she goes, don't point at me. And she walked away. I went, whoa, God, I didn't, I was, And I had to approach. I had to go to the door and knock on the door and say, please, I'm so sorry, here, please take this, do that. Because we're so touchy. Because we're not absorbed in bhav. We're not absorbed in Krishna consciousness. We're all absorbed in our silks, our profile, and our station, and our bank account. So whenever there's a little infraction between one another, we won't talk to that guy the rest of our life. Well, what did he do? He sneezed. Well, it was too close. He could have got me. And for 20 years, you won't talk to that person. So this is what we do. You do ISKCON. You have paying your obeisances to one another. As soon as you pay your obeisances, 50% of any problem you got is over. And if you pay him again, the whole thing's over. Guarantee, ask any Prabhupada disciples. If you want a really nice life and spiritual life, put Krishna in there. Add Krishna to your Krishna consciousness. And you'll be very happy. And you will also be powerful. And you will be an example. All you have to do is just say something to somebody once a day. Krishna's blue. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Krishna has on the bottom of his feet 19 signs. On his right foot, he has a barley corn at the tip, right under his toe. The barley corn represents nutrition and nourishment. So when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, that nourishment of Krishna's feet takes our shelter, and he takes care of us. Next, you have a chakra. This chakra represents that when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, the chakra will chop away all the sin that's within our heart. Next to that is the urdhva rekha, the upward curving line. When one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, this upward curving line will go all the way to Patala Loka to pick up his devotee. The Padma, the lotus flower, represents that when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one's life becomes soft and cushioned and protected. It also represents the fact that Krishna's lotus feet look like lotuses, and they never leave Vrindavan, which is like a lotus flower. The elephant goad, the Ankush, that represents that when one takes the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, then the Ankush, it's guiding the elephant mind of the devotee down that straight path back home, back to Godhead. And the one who holds the elephant goad, he rides on top of the elephant. Therefore, those who take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet are the greatest people on the earth. The flag, the dwaja, this represents the victory, that when we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, we are victorious over all that comes our way. The lightning bolt. When Lord Indra, he pounces upon the mountains to destroy mountains with his thunderbolt. And so in the same way, Krishna, when we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, the mountain bolt, this thunderbolt, destroys the mountains of sin collected over millions of lifetimes. The chhatri, or the umbrella. Just like when Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill to protect his friends and family. So when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one is protected by Krishna. It also represents that when one, like a Maharaj, walks down the street, he's got an umbrella over him. So when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, he becomes like a Maharaj. The Astakona, or the eight-sided figure. This represents that when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, he is protected in all 8 directions. The swastika, top, bottom, left, and right. When one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one's life becomes prosperous and auspicious. And in between the swastikas is a jambu fruit, rose apple. When one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, actually all living entities within Jambu Dweep have to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. This is the right foot of Krishna, 11 signs. And on Krishna's left foot, the 8 signs are the Shankha, the conch. When the conch shell is used in artik, it comes after the fire. The deepak is first used, the fire, then the Shankha with the water inside. So when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, this water pours out the fire of material life. The sky emblem, Akash. This is situated between the middle toes. It's a circle over a circle. And this represents that when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, that Krishna is unattached. He's indifferent to anybody who takes his shelter. Just like the sky will take the smell of an onion or take the smell of a rose. So Krishna, he will take the acceptance of anybody who accepts and falls at his shelter of his feet, whether he's a demon or a devotee. The Dhanush, the bow. This represents that when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet and he has Goloka Vrindav in his direction, in his target, he will sure hit it. The Goshpad, the footprints of a calf, just like you heard before. All the material universe simply becomes, the oceans of the material universe simply becomes the size of the water fit inside the hoofprint and very easy to step over. The Trikona, the triangle. This represents that when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, he is freed from the 3 modes of material nature. He is freed from above, middle, and below, from the right, the middle, and the left. He is protected by the 3 Adhyatmic, Adhibhautik, Adhidaivik. And Lord Shiva meditates on Krishna with his 3 eyes. The Chandra represents, it's a sliver, it's a Adichandra is what it's called, the moon. The moon situated like that because of shame, because of the beautiful moon-like fingernails and toenails of Krishna's transcendental form. It's so brilliant, so wonderful, that the moon becomes embarrassed and ashamed and sits in a position like that. Also, it's the sign of Cupid, and Cupid flag. And so Krishna shows his defeat of Cupid by keeping Cupid on the bottom of his foot. And then the fish, the Matsya. This represents the fickle mind of the devotee, always going one way or the other. So when one takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, he becomes fixed in a direction, going home. And like a fish cannot live without water, so the devotee who falls in shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, he cannot live without them. So you meditate on these feet. You meditate on the blue color of Krishna. You meditate on his beautiful transcendental form. And most of all, you meditate on his sweet smile and his pastimes. By meditating on Krishna, you water the root of the tree. And automatically, all your economic problems are gone. Your philosophical problems are gone. Your political sides are gone. Your fanaticisms are gone. All the hardships that you keep praying for to go will go. Krishna consciousness, spiritual life is only two things. Through all the austerities and the programs and the regiment and all of the different things, it comes down to just two things. Your desire to meet Krishna and your willingness to ask. If you simply pray for the desire to have the desire and start your spiritual life. Don't just collect punya. When you chant 16 rounds and you go to the program and you see the deities and you water Tulsi, you're putting you're putting barrels of punya, of great stuff into your spiritual bank account. But do you have any cash in your pocket? Is there any money in your pocket now? You got billions of dollars in the account, but you don't have any money on you. What if Mr. Birla or Mr. Ford, some billionaire, drives through some village of India in his brand new limousine and he gets a flat tire? The local tire wala will say, yes, 27 rupees, please. And the man will say, well, I'm Mr. Ford. I own this village. Yeah, well, that's nice, but I need 27 rupees. Yeah, but I see my credit cards? I got 14 phones in my pocket. Don't you see? I'm very, very rich. Yeah, that's very nice, but I want my 27 rupees. Well, then you don't get your car. So in the same way, if you don't put cash in your pocket, if you don't think about Krishna now, if you don't talk about his pastimes now, if you don't relish Krishna now, then you're like a poor man. Yes, you got millions of dollars in your account for your next life, but what do you got right now? That isn't what it's about. We're not into saving money. We're not a bunch of grihamedis. We spend our money. We have a party. We do it today, right now. Dance, chant, feast, philosophy. That's our life. Connection with Krishna. Making that relationship. Sambandha. With the goal in mind. Don't forget the goal. Because you're all going to die. That is the only thing that's for sure in your life. You don't know what your money's going to do. You don't know about your friends. You don't know where you're going to live. You don't know anything in life. But one thing for sure, you will die. So that was what human life is for. Krishna consciousness is for dying. Be ready to die, boys and girls. Here it comes. Well, are you ready? If you're not ready, get ready. Because it's coming. It could be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. So don't create violence amongst each other and say, hi, how are you? Say, how's your bhajan, Prabhu? Did you see the deities today in their beautiful yellow and green? With their beautiful red and rose garlands and the tulsis on their leaf and the gold bangles around their ankles and the green pearls on the bottom on the small deities? You meditate on the Lord. Think about the Lord. And then find somebody in your life, a friend of yours, and say, did you see the 7 butterflies yesterday on Radharani's garland? Did anybody see the butterflies, by the way? You saw? There were 7. Did you see? There were 7. I saw one. Half hour later, I saw another one. But yeah, there were butterflies. So what you do is you get somebody, a friend of yours, somebody you want to cultivate Krishna consciousness with, and say, what was on the altar today? And when you take your prasadam, don't just fill your belly like a cat and dog. Honor the mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Radha Madhava. Bam. And relish Krishna. Don't just... More rascals. You know in Mahaprasadam, if somebody offers you Mahaprasadam and somebody says, here's rasgulas and here's the burnt chapati. Here's a test. Where's the Krishna Prema? Is it in the rasgula or is it in the burnt chapati? Which one do you pick? Burnt chapati. Which one do you pick? Burnt chapati. Which one do you pick? Boy, you boys are all smart today. Usually everybody goes, rasgula, rasgula, rasgula. But actually the rasgula is only stool tomorrow morning because you're eating it in the consciousness of enjoyment. But what's in a burnt chapati to enjoy? The prema of offering. That's where the nectar is. So you can make it, you can have a barometer reading. How much material enjoyment am I exploiting from Krishna consciousness? And how much divine pleasure am I receiving by their mercy? Make a barometer. Pull out a book and make it, and keep an inventory of your life. How am I doing spiritually? Yesterday I remembered Krishna 2 hours and 5 minutes. Today I'm going to remember Krishna 2 hours and 10 minutes. Make an effort. Be conscious. How are you doing spiritually? That's why you say to your God brothers and friends, how's your bhajan? Oh, my bhajan? And immediately you bring the person to the spiritual platform. In Shastra, it says that a Vaishnava or a Brahmin, when approached, you say, how is your bhajan? How's your chanting of your mantras? How's your austerities? How's your jagya? To the Kshatriya, you say to him, how's your family? Because he has to protect. To the Vaishya, you say, how's business? And to the Sudra, you say, how are you? Because what is the senses? What is the body? Who are you? I don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. So what are you pertaining to? You're pertaining to my body. What is the body? Senses. So as a Sudra, how are you? How's your enjoyment? So actually it's a very violent thing to say to a devotee. How are you? First of all, there's no sincerity. It doesn't really matter. Well, I got a boil on my backside. And, my nose got to run. And, Does anybody really want to know? I got this toothache here. Let me show you. Come here. Let me show you. Oh, okay, Jai Harbol. Krishna consciousness is real. It's not a bunch of profile. It's not a bunch of positioning and pose. It's about your life. It's about your love of Godhead. It's about Krishna's love for you. It's about love. It's a personal thing. It's not official. This institution is not for the official institution of it all. It's about developing your love for Krishna and going back home, back to Godhead, following Prabhupada's instruction to never forget Krishna. If you're not remembering Krishna, you're not following the spiritual master's order. And if you're not following the spiritual master's order, you're violent in this process. I stand bold. If you're not remembering Krishna, you're wrong. And you're taking this movement to hell with you because you're not helping. Krishna consciousness is about process. It's not a failure process. It's a success process. Some horrible preachers will come and tell you some poison that you're not qualified. You can't make it back to Godhead. It's too pure. It's too far away. You're too contaminated. You're unqualified. That's Maya. Prabhupada doesn't say that in the books. He says in the Nectar of Devotion, from page 1 of the Nectar of Devotion to page 5, chapter 5, 65 times, fix your mind on Krishna. However you can, by whatever means, somehow or other, wherever you can, by any means, fix your mind on Krishna. If somebody tells you you're not allowed to fix your mind on Krishna, he's a demon. You're listening to the wrong guy. Shastra Guru Sadhu is our authority, not popular vote. Keep the purity, you guys. Prabhupada's gone. 20 more years, there will be no more Prabhupada disciples. And already changes are going on. Come on. Is there any loyalty or is it all just show? Don't you care? This is Krishna consciousness. This is our love. This is our life. Protect it. It's going to hell. It's dying away because you're not talking about Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Do we have a microphone for this, Mata? This Vaishnavi? Prabhupada told the early devotees in the early days that all the devotees should be called Prabhu. The mothers too. You guys are Prabhus also. Prabhupada gave that instruction. Repeat it louder. It's not working.
So I hope this doesn't kill me. I'm just curious. You were speaking of instructions and Srila Prabhupada's process. And we know that by following that process and those instructions, we can attain the ultimate goal, which is what you're speaking of. But then, why didn't you follow his process and his instructions? He wanted a Bhagavatam class, Jaya Radha Madhava.
Yes, Mata. Well, again, in your particular point is made, I have to humbly apologize for my mismanaged enthusiasm. Normally I do everything proper, but I got caught and in a moment of an urgency. I'll be honest with you. Yes, I kind of broke procedure today, but it was because of my heartfelt concern that the devotees have to get back on track again. That we follow procedures in a ritualistic way with no faith and no determination. That we listen to Sanskrit and we do all these things with no belief, no application. We've gotten ourselves into a ritualistic church process. We forgot about Krishna. So I'm just simply trying to make whatever effort I can out of my loyalty to Srila Prabhupada and by the mercy of Radharani and Lord Nityananda, who've given me an awakening to talk about Krishna, that I see the loneliness that not enough people are talking about Krishna in our movement. And I think that we should start getting more immediate than dealing with some historical things that we don't really have much interest in.
Well, just an observance that everyone has their opinions and their methods, and some people differ from yourself. And that's what I feel is happening in our movement. Everyone's giving their idea of what Prabhupada thinks or what Prabhupada feels or how things should be done, and we're losing the essence.
Jai, and that's the point of this class. Supporting exactly what
so
you
we
said.
have to practice what we preach.
Yeah, talk about Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. If you don't do what you preach, your point is exactly the point of the class. Is that if we don't actually do what we say, you're telling everybody else Bhagavad Gita, you're preaching to everybody else, but still you're reading the paper, still you're looking at the sense of control. Why isn't the higher taste come? You preach it, but you're not doing. In other words, if you don't walk the talk, you're just like another philosophical group. That's why it's so important to walk your talk. Exactly what you're saying, I'm trying to emphasize that same point. You know, consciousness of Krishna, international society. Well, the only thing missing is Krishna consciousness. Nobody ever talks about Krishna. Every year, Kartik, right here in this temple, and in the area of this temple, I ask 20 devotees every day for 20 days. That's 400 people. Can you tell me something about Krishna? And the only one out of 4 years, that's 2,000 people, Krishna-Das Das was the only one who actually told me something about Krishna. So there's a real problem. We got a health problem here. And it's in an epidemic stage. Why do you think the devotees are leaving? Because they're not satisfied in Krishna consciousness. They're not satisfied with rumors and talk and power and money. They want love of Godhead. They came for that. We came to meet Krishna. We came to die and go home back to Godhead. That's what we came for. That's what you read by, or at least some of us. Some are here to get a ticket to America. Some are here to make some money. Some are here to create violence. But those sincere, rare souls I'm talking about. I'm only talking to one or two of you, I'm sure. Not everybody here wants Krishna. But for those who do, that person I'm talking to. Did I answer your question for you, Mataji?
Yes, by acknowledging that you hadn't practiced what you preached. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Mataji, please. Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna. Actually, you hit a chord this morning because I was really feeling real.
Sorry?
No, I was actually feeling not so enlivened this morning. And I was thinking, oh boy, I should just give up, because I'm trying so hard and I'm just like feeling real down. So you really hit a chord in awakening that spark again. It is very difficult.
So, we got to pray. Just keep praying. Yes, Prabhu. This Maharaj.
I was trying to remember, Krishna, as you were speaking, you mentioned that every time Krishna doesn't help until someone calls for his help. And I was trying to remember, you've got to remind me how when the cowherd boys went inside the Aghasura serpent's mouth when they called for Krishna.
Yeah, they did. Before they went in. They went in and they said, Krishna will save us. We can go in. They knew he was going to come and save them. I'm very glad you said that. You know what's very interesting is that in Krishna Leela, nobody ever saw the killings of anybody except the boys. And so all the parents and the girls and everybody else in Vrindavan never believed anything that Krishna did. They didn't believe he killed the Putana. They didn't believe he killed the, separated the trees. They never believed any of it. Until Govardhan Leela. When Krishna lifted Govardhan Leela, that was in front of everybody. And everybody saw that. And that's when Krishna got the sparkle from the girls. That's when the whole relationship with the girls began. Because they saw, wow, look at this guy. Our hero. And that's what started it. And then the very next day, after the 7 days, it was the Kaliya incident. And so then all the devotees, all the Brijbasis got to see Krishna chastise Kaliya. So this created, for the first time out of all of the different incidents of demon killing, where Krishna got seen by everybody. And now he enters into that world of, wow, and everybody's now after Krishna. And then, of course, the fire, the Davanala fire, which was right afterwards, that night, after Krishna chastised Kali and made him leave, they all stayed right along the beach of the water and spent the night there. Oh, yeah, it's police coming. And so that's what that's what started the relationship with Krishna and the gopis, was the time when Krishna lifted Govardhan.
Cowherd boys, they didn't actually call out for Krishna. They just had confidence that Krishna will take care of us. They're just go see what happens when we go in there.
They said, wow, look at this big old guy here who's pretending to be a monster. And they kind of like busted him, kind of described this whole thing. He looks like a snake, and then finally he says, wow, he's got teeth like mountain peaks, and tongue like a highway. And so they said, well, let's go in and check it out. Yeah, you think so? Yeah, Krishna will be here. He'll take care of it. Let's go in and check it out. So fearless, because they've seen, they saw 5 or 6 demons killed by Krishna, so they had no problem about it. But yeah, they didn't ask, but they kind of had the assurity that he would be there to save the day. Thanks, Prabhu. Maharaj? Yeah. 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 No. Murli Manohar is calling. He's out. He's called him. Murli Manohar is a picture of Krishna leaving.
He's on his way out.
Yeah, or he landed there. He got to his spot. See, Krishna picks the spot according to his whim, really. Krishna leaves it. He has to leave early. See, the last artik represents the milk. Mother Yasoda is giving the hot milk, puts him into his bedclothes, and by 8:30 he's put to bed. There's 2 servants that live in his room named Raktak and Patrak. They're his valets. They kind of, do his dressing and combing his hair and different things. And they go to sleep. Well, they really go to sleep at 8:30. And then Krishna comes in at about 8:45, and then Mother Yasoda, steps over and kissing him and pouring milk all over him, And finally, she leaves him alone at 9, right at 9 o'clock. Then at 9 o'clock, at 10 minutes after, Patrak and Raktak, they're snoring away. They're completely out. And then Krishna gets up, takes off his bedclothes, puts on his night clothes, his party clothes, and then he goes over to the window and goes down the tree. But there's security all around Nanda's house, so he's got to watch out, that he doesn't get caught once he gets outside the house. And then he got to run. He got to go, and he's got 15 minutes to get out to the spot where he wants to be. And then he pulls it out, adjusts the moon, and he does gets the whole scene set up, and then he calls the girls. And the last note, 8, the 8th note, that's Sri Radha. I forgot to give you the last note. And then Krishna comes, and then he waits. And then he's got an hour, because they have to put it all on, take it all off, and then go running out there. And then when they get out there, Krishna says, it's very nice you all come out here to visit me, but it's a very late hour, and you should go home now. You'll ruin my reputation. So Krishna said, and so the girls are laughing, oh, you're just making fun. And he says, I'm not joking with you. It's late at night. There's ferocious animals out here. Does your mother know where you are? Then you better get home now. And now they're going, what? What are you doing? What? What's he? What? And he says, no, I'm telling you, you go now. You get out. You can put your clothes, turn around and go back home. So now they're very upset, and with their toes, they take the toes and they draw the pictures that are painted on their arms and on their cheeks, which are dolphins and vines and leaves and stuff. So with their toe, they start drawing all these things in the ground. And Krishna says, you better hurry, because the ferocious animals, the nocturnal beasts who eat little girls, will be coming out. So then Krishna, so you better go. And now the gopis say, hey, wait a second. We don't want to be out here. You ones that called us out here, you're so crooked. You lie, you're crooked, your eyes are crooked, your face is crooked, your mouth is crooked, your body is crooked, your cows are crooked, your boys are crooked. Even your mother and father is crooked. And then Balaram says, hey, watch out now. Don't be talking about my mama. So Balaram, he's ready to go do something about it to the girls. And Krishna says, no, it's late at night, we'll do this tomorrow. So tomorrow, the next day, all the boys, they get these slingshots, right? And they climb up in the tree, and as the gopis are walking down to sell their milk, they have 6 pots above their head. So the kids, the boys in the trees, they grab 2 of them, pull them off their heads. They're, hey, what's going on? And then Krishna gives the signal, and all the guys start firing, and they bust all the pots. And then the last pot that's on their head, they take it, and they try to hide it and keep it. And they're yelling, why are you guys doing this? What are you doing this for? And then Krishna pulls out his flute, and he blows that 3rd note, and the pots go, and yogurt's flying, pots are flying. And now they're going, how do you, these aren't our pots of yogurt, these are our mother and father's pots. What do you think you're doing? I'm telling you, you're in trouble. So then they go off to get Krishna's in trouble, go get all the parents. And then Krishna pulls out his flute again, he goes, plays his 3rd note, and all the pots come back together, all the yogurt, all stacked, all beautiful. So when the mothers and everybody's all coming out, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, they busted all of our pots. You got us all the way out here to try to get that beautiful Krishna in trouble? You bad girls. And so then Krishna, so they chastise and they go back. And then the girls are going, there's so many nectarine pastimes. If you just get absorbed in the reading of the Krishna book, the Nectar Devotion, and all the different Acharya's books that Prabhupada recommends in his purports, by the way, 3:7:28, 3:4:69, 5 Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5 Adi Leela, 205, Adi Leela 8, chapter 20, text 61, and 11th canto 15, chapter text 28. These are the references by which Srila Prabhupada says that if you're serious about becoming a pure devotee, you must read the books of the Acharyas. We're not exclusive. When devotees have this argument amongst devotees, they say Prabhupada didn't give us everything. Others say, yes, he gave us everything. How did he give us everything? By sanctioning us to investigate into the world of the Sampradaya. He's given the authorization 6 times to read the books of the Acharyas. And by following proper guidance, please assure, Prabhus, please be assured, you cannot become a sahaja. A sahaja is only by independent people who take on independently their life, speculating as to what the goal, not under the guidance of the Sampradaya. So don't let these devotees who are hard-hearted and lusty say, that if you talk about Krishna, you're a sahaja. This is one of the things that are just hurting our movement quite a lot. If we don't talk about Krishna, you're going to go back to the material world. You won't get that spiritual attachment. You have to leave. So you've got to engage yourself in katha with one another. Say something about Krishna. And in this way, we'll be happy. Prabhupada will be happy. Lord Nityananda will give his blessings. Lord Chaitanya will show us how to dance and get that greed. And then we can go dancing with those two divine couple. So is everybody all right? And if I've made any offense, please, it was never my intention. I know I'm a little sensational, but I want to make sure you don't fall asleep. So, is there any other questions or comments? How many parts of Krishna's body is lotus-like? 5, right. You said? All right. How many parts of Krishna's body is fine? Fine. 5, right. How many parts of Krishna's body is deep? Huh? No. 3. Voice, navel, intelligence. The parts of Krishna that is fine are the fine hair, fine teeth, fine skin, fine body hair, fine nails, and fine head hair. Anybody got any more? There are, let's see. Trying to think of it. Let's see. Huh? Yeah, I need to make a list. Next time, we'll get down and we'll have a test. You guys are going to have to test. You're going to all have to listen. And so tomorrow, all of you are going to have to answer, what does Krishna look like? And how sweet is Krishna? Madhurari pate rakilam madhuram. You know, Krishna has these beautiful kundalas, these beautiful silver, pearl, red ruby type pearls in his ears. He has a kastuba gem. He has a picture of a locket with a picture of Radharani inside. He always wears a pearl necklace, and he always wears a 5-flower Vajayanti flower garland. Sundara kundala naina vishala galle sohaya Vajayanti mala chachaviki balihari radhe sham shama sham Jaya Madhava Madana Murari Radhe Sham Shama Sham Jaya Keshava Kalimala Hari Radhe Sham Shama Sham Radhe Sham Shama Sham Radhe Sham Shama Sham. Now you see, you guys got smiles on your faces. It doesn't even matter. You haven't even gotten to eat. You haven't, it's hotter. And you're still happy. This is concrete, physical, individual evidence that this Hare Krishna works. Just get absorbed. Just ask. Because if you ask Krishna, He's ready to give. It's not that it's all on your own. You're not on your own. You're simply that you simply have to make the effort. Because Krishna consciousness, you cannot get free of the bodily conception by philosophy. You cannot understand by intellectual agreement Krishna prema. It's something you have to ask for. You cannot do it on your own. And so many people are trying to figure out Krishna. Prabhupada says several times in so many books, don't try to understand Krishna. Just try to love Him. Now there's a very good philosophical point between Lord Indra and Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma, in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, you know the bewilderment, right? Brahma getting bewildered by Krishna. Well, when he did that, Brahma, he didn't really make a mistake. He didn't really do anything wrong. What he simply did was he was a little curious. Because he is the supreme personality of this universe, he's expecting that God should be more like him. Aishvarya, sitting in a seat, being a controller. What's he doing sitting there eating yogurt as a 5-year-old kid? This can't be God. Wait a minute, what? So in that 1 minute of bewilderment, as you know the story, he stole the cows and calves. Well, at that time, Krishna became those calves and boys. And at that particular time, Purnamasi, who is the guru of Vrindavan, she's very tall. She's Sandapani Muni's mother, or Madhu Mangal's grandmother. And she's like the head of Vrindavan. And she is also Yogamaya. So when Krishna became all the boys, then Yogamaya, Purnamasi, she went to all the girls, all the parents that had children, girl children, and said, the stars are in the right place this year, that you should marry your children to the boys. So all the girls got married to Krishna, you know? So what is the question of moral wrong here? Going out in the night with his own wife. What's the problem? So is there anything else? Because if you leave me here, I can keep going, you know? I mean, Krishna is so beautiful. There's so many pastimes, you know? Like, for example, when Brahma took the cows and took the boys away, he brought them right back, and it ended up being a year. But Krishna, eating with his left hand, heard 40 slokas of apology from Brahma, and he showed no emotional change. So Brahma never knew if he ever got forgiven. Actually, he never did get forgiven. You know why? Is because he took his family away. He separated Krishna from his cowherd boys and his calves. For that, he made an offense. And that's why he had to take birth as Haridas Thakur in Gaura Leela to get beaten 21 times in the marketplace for what he made a mistake. Now, Lord Indra, check this out. Just try to appreciate how Krishna is about love. Lord Indra, you know, he gets his paycheck by these sacrifices. When you do a sacrifice to the demigods, that pays the rent. And whatever's extra, they can go to the demigod parties. You know, pay the gas in the swan plane and stuff. And so, so this is their payment. This is how they keep the rent paid, you know. And so when Krishna said, don't give him no more, give it all to Govardhan, then you know all the story. Lord Indra became so upset that he made order, destroy Vrindavan. Well, what does that mean? That means killing family members of Krishna. This is big time order here. This is heavy. But what did Krishna do? He simply utilized that facility to lift Govardhan Hill. And by lifting Govardhan Hill, all the devotees of Braj all got to see Krishna 24 hours a day for 7 whole days. Mother only gets to see him in the morning and the evening. The cows only get to see him in the day. The gopis see a little in the day and a little at the night. But everybody's in separation of Krishna every day. So now Krishna's standing there, and 24-hour darshan for 7 whole days. What Indra did was that he brought the family together. So Krishna was never offended. Even though Indra had the attitude of destroying Vrindavan, Krishna never felt as it was an aparad because it brought the family together. Brahma, he was just a little curious as to why God is doing this and took 1 minute of his time of an inconvenience, and he got beat. He never was forgiven because he took the family away. You see the love of Krishna? Even though Indra was an aparadi, he made an offense. He was going to kill mom and dad. But he left that because he gave him the chance to bring them together. And Brahma, he didn't hardly do anything wrong, and he had to get beat. So see where Krishna's priority is. He's in the love of the devotees. Krishna loves his devotees more than anything else. We got this idea we're on our own. We got to pray to Krishna. We got to do the worship. We got to do this. We got to do that. But that's only because Krishna's standing there waiting for you to make a little effort, and then he'll step right in and take care of the rest of it. That comes from faith. And that faith comes from sadhu sangha. If you don't talk about Krishna, you can't get the faith. And if you don't get the faith, you're going to do something else. Krishna doesn't want pizza, but you offer it to him. He doesn't want a brand new TV, but you offer it to him. We're following karma bhakti. We're not following bhakti. Devotional service means devotion, means devoted, in devotion, a devotee to Krishna. Not to churches, not to organizations, not to fellow sense gratifiers, not to the pizza shop, but to Krishna. I'm not a disciple, I'm not a guru. I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. I'm not fat, skinny, tall, short, white, black, American, black, or any other thing. I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. Don't forget the prayojana. Don't forget what you're here for. We're here to love that black unreliable. The one who's got 27 garlands on, who's got 3 pearl necklaces, who's got 6 tulsi leaves on his feet. Take a look. And spend some time, and then tell somebody what Krishna looks like. Yes, Maharaj.
Is there any connection because Lord Indra, because he showed respect to Surabhi cow, that pleased
No,
Krishna?
that was just that was like an insurance policy. He figured he figured that Krishna was going to kill him for his aparad. So that was like an insurance policy. He brought the cow to like, hey, you know. But it was only a ploy, a political ploy to keep from getting in trouble.
But that rescued him from being punished.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was thinking it would help. Anybody? How many signs are on the bottom of Krishna's feet? 8 on one foot. Huh? 11 on the other. Right. 19 feet. 11, yeah. So Krishna's hair is all wavy, representing the ocean, which represents what? No. All the pastimes. All of Krishna's pastimes are recorded in the waves of the ocean. Did you know that Mother Yasoda, in order to get Krishna to take milk from the house and not steal it, she grows 7 different kinds of grain grasses, feeds it to 100 cows. Those 100 cows, the milk of those 100 cows is then fed to 10 cows. The milk of those 10 cows are then fed to 2 cows. And the milk of those 2 cows is fed to Krishna and Balaram. 111 people had to get involved to get Krishna a glass of milk. So there's no shortage of time, space, service. The spiritual world, there's plenty of room for all of us. It's not like everything's already been done. There's complete, it's completely open for all of us. And Krishna, here's one you'll love. Did you know, Krishna, now there's a cover story and then there's the inside story. On every story in Krishna consciousness. The one who doesn't really know so much, you get a cover story. And those who've got Ras and Bhav and they're very invested into Krishna, then you get the inside story. So I'll let you in on an inside story. When Krishna, should I tell the story? Well, when Lord Chaitanya, we know this. Sorry. When Krishna goes and dances with the gopis in the night, Prabhupada says that Krishna expands himself so that he's with every gopi, right? You've heard this? Well, that's the cover story. The inside story is that Krishna does not display Aishvarya Bhav in Vrindavan. And to expand himself is what he does in Dwarka, right? He's got 16,000 forms for the queens. But in Vrindavan, he does not display Aishvarya Bhav to his devotees. So how is the gopis thinking that they all have Krishna? Because he goes super fast. Just like a fan, You stop, you see 3. When it spins, you think you're seeing like 20, 30 of them, right? So Krishna's, and he's just dancing so fast that everyone's thinking, Krishna's right here with me. There's the inside story. There's a lot of far out nectar if you just investigate and ask and get into it. And find good association. Find somebody who wants to talk about Krishna. Your friend may not want to talk about Krishna, so you should give him up. You should want to spend your time being with devotees who want to talk about Krishna. Because the more you talk about Krishna, the more that the leaders of our movement will appreciate your example. And by your example, they will become good examples. And when they become good examples, and we're all good examples, then the goal of life will be very easily reached. We can become Krishna conscious. Yes, Maharaj.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Nilachal, there all this Aishwarya Bhav, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifest, but in Navadip he was in a very like Vrindavan mood.
Yeah, well, the difference between Vrindavan and Mayapur, or Navadvip, is that in Vrindavan it's Krishna Bhav. That means Sambhog, together. In Mayapur it's Vipralamba Bhav, Radha Bhav, so it's separate. The Maha Mantra has both tattvas within the Maha Mantra.
But he didn't manifest Vipralamba Bhav in Mayapur.
Yeah, he's always crying.
In
Where's
Nilachal.
Krishna? Where's
No,
Krishna?
that is in Nilachal.
Okay, well, okay, so it's basically both. Mayapur and Jagannath Puri both has that Radha Bhav. Krishna's crying. He's dancing up and down crying. In Vrindavan, nobody's crying. Everybody's got Krishna. There is no cries. Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, that's a crying place. Vipralamba. When Lord Chaitanya went to Jagannath Puri, cover story is that Mother Sachi told him to go there, right? We know that because it's close, you can hear from him. But the inside story is that Lord Chaitanya is in the bhav of Radharani in separation, right? We know this from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya wanted to taste the bhav of Sri Radhika, so he became Radharani by taking that Haladini Shakti from Radharani, putting it in his own heart and getting bit by the poison of prema. So then he becomes Chaitanya, finding the taste to feel the mood of Radharani's mood of separation. So he went to Jagannath Puri because there he is in separation with his loving Sri Shyamasundar, who stands like this, appearing to us as Jagannath. But Jagannath, his whole form, his whole pastime, is all based on separation for Radharani. So Krishna, when he stands as Shyamasundar, as Jagannath, in separation for Radharani, Lord Chaitanya, who's Radharani, is feeling separation for her Krishna. And that bhav in Jagannath Puri is the same bhav which was felt by Radha and Krishna when they appeared in Jagannath in Kurukshetra. Now you're going to love this. If you're into this, it's going to be really cool. Because what happened is, when Krishna, well, I have to quickly tell a little story. Radharani was holding Radharani. Radha was holding her shoulder, and Krishna had his hand over her hand. And they were talking together in Barshana. And then as they were talking and making joke, Krishna slipped off the finger ring of her Radharani. Slipped off the ring, clipped it. And so everybody's, a nice day, everything's nice. And then the next morning, Radharani gets up and goes, oh, my ring is missing. Sakis, have you seen my ring? No. Manjaris, have you seen my ring? No. Well, then where'd my ring go? And of course, Lalita, right? Lalita goes, that black unreliable. That guy got your ring. He's coming today. We'll take care of it. So now, Krishna comes, Krishna runs up, Hi, girls. Like everything's fine, And Krishna and so Lalita goes, yesterday there's a ring got missing. You know anything about it? No, I don't know anything about it. No. All of a sudden Lalita says, Sakis? And the Sakis take Krishna and they pin him to the wall. Checking, Uh-huh. What's this? Not only are you a thief, but you're a liar too. You get out of Barshana and don't come back here. So Krishna is like, oh, but get out. So Krishna now he leaves Barshana. Oh, my Radharani, what to do? So as he's in his anxiety is creating such exhaustion in his heart, in his life, his body, his breathing, that he decides he's going to lay down and take a nap. So he takes his Vamsi and he takes his Mukut and he puts it there and he goes to sleep in the forest. Then Radharani, Lalita, Vishaka, Champaklata, Tungavidya, and all the rest. They come and they're walking in the forest and they see Krishna separated from his flute and crown. And so they say to Radharani, Lalita says, Radharani, get his flute. And Radharani, being such a perfect girl with all good qualities, feminine, honest, quiet, pure, shy, she says, no, that would be dishonest. And Krishna and the girls say, yeah. Get that flute. No, no, it's not. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no. Yeah, 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 yeah. So then finally Krishna, Radharani, she slips the flute and the bakut and they run off. So then Krishna, when he wakes up, he's so much in anxiety, he doesn't even know his flute's missing. And he's thinking, how can I see Radharani? How can I get back to the being with my girls? And he thinks, I'll dress up as a girl. So he dresses up as a beautiful girl and he walks along the border of Barshana yelling, oh Krishna, I've heard about you all my life, and if I don't see you today, I'm going to die. And so Radharani and Lalita and Vishaka and everybody, they all know this feeling. And they're all thinking, oh no, this poor Saki, she's going to die. She needs to see Krishna. Oh, call her up. Let's talk to her. And Radharani looks at this beautiful Saki and goes, wow, you're as beautiful as anything I've ever seen. In fact, you remind me of Krishna. What's your name? And the Saki says, my name is Shama Saki. And where are you from? Oh, I'm from a village kind of far from here. But in that village, I've heard about Krishna all my life. Day after day, I'm hearing about Krishna. I've fallen in love with Krishna. And if I don't see Krishna today, I'm going to die. And so all the girls are thinking, oh no, we got to fix this girl's problem. So Lalita and Vishaka, they go to Radharani and they say, Radharani, you got Krishna's flute. You got his bakut. Dress up as Krishna. She'll come in, see you, be a hero. She'll go home, stay alive. So Radharani says, well, that's dishonest. I can't do that. And so Lalita goes, yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. So they take the kesar, the saffron, and they put the saffron all over Radharani's body, creating a beautiful, what color blue? Like what? Like a sapphire. Like what? Rain cloud, lotus flower, right? Okay. You guys got to come on. I'm testing you guys. So then she's beautiful. And so they put the flute in her hand. She stands in her beautiful Navala Tribangi roop. And she stands with the crown and everything. And she stands there. And Lalita says, beautiful. Wait right there. Shamasaki. Oh, Shamasaki. Look, Krishna's come. Come in, get darshan. Save your life. So Shamasaki comes in and she looks and she sees this beautiful Krishna and she goes, oh, Krishna, you're so beautiful in every way. Oh, with your beautiful yellow dhoti and my flute. Hey, and my crown. Hey, what's going on around here? That's my flute. That's my crown. You're yelling about me stealing and you stole my flute? So now Radharani going, blah, 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 blah. Oh, what to do? And so Krishna starts to take the flute back from Radharani, chastising her. How can you be doing this, taking my flute? And as Krishna has got Radharani's hand and taking the flute, he takes that ring again, steals the ring again. So now he's got the ring again, right? So now they say, okay, equal crime, we'll be equal, everything's all right, you know. So everything's okay. Now, it's been 10 years, 7 months. 4,000 days, Krishna lives in Vrindavan. Time to go. He's got to go kill a guy named Kamsa. So he goes to Mathura, and he stays from the age of 10 years, 7 months until the age of 28. After 14 days of arriving in Mathura, he finally killed Kamsa. So from the age of 28, he then moved to Dwarka, and he stayed another 96 years. And within a period of 100 years, there was an eclipse. And so at that time of that eclipse, all the Bhoja dynasty, the Brishni dynasty, the Yadu dynasty, they all came to the Kurukshetra battlefield. So all the Vrijvasis, they also came. So Krishna hugged and talked with every member of all the dynasties and waited for the gopis. At the end after everybody's been visited, Krishna then took the gopis and said, come on, we'll go talk on the side. And so the gopis are looking at Krishna and going, man, you have no peacock feather. You're wearing this general's outfit. You're wearing shoes. You got, where's your flute? Who are you? Why don't you come back to Braj? Stop all this. Come back and be with us in Vrindavan. And Krishna says, well, you know what? I'm married and, I got some work. I got a job and, I can't go back. So they say, well, then come to Dwarka. And Krishna and the gopis say, we're forest girls, we cannot go. So now the eclipse is over, the sun is setting, everyone is returning to their homes. And Krishna takes out that ring after 100 years. It says, here, Radharani. And Radharani, she takes out the flute that she got from Mother Yasoda. This is here. And this is the last of the pastimes between Radha and Krishna. So there's inside stories, outside stories, all based on your desire. If you really have the desire to really become Krishna conscious, please pray for it. Please pray. You know, you all prayed before you came to Krishna consciousness, every one of you. And now that you've come, you've stopped praying. So please, pick up the program again. If you really want to do the program, it's not coming to Mangal Artik and chanting your rounds. It's establishing your eternal relationship with Krishna. Use the Mangal Artik time to pray. Understand Siddhanta. I am a bird. I've come to wake up Krishna and Radharani from the kunjas of Vrindavan, and now they're bringing him back to the house of Nanda Maharaj. Shringar Artik, 7 o'clock in the morning, Mother Yasoda has just bathed Krishna and made him look really good. And so all the boys of Vrindavan are saying, hey Mom, hurry up, I want to go see what Krishna looks like. And that's what Shringar Artik is. Almost. And so, it's eternity. What the heck? So, I'll finish. And so, where was I? Huh? Oh, Shringar Artik, right. So lunchtime prasadam, the 12 o'clock Bhoga Artik, is the time when Krishna is with the boys out in the Gosta. They're out in the fields. And Tulsi Manjari and Kamalata, they come with prasadam from Mother Yasoda's house, and everybody all sits around and takes prasadam. That's the Bhoga Artik. Then you have the 4 o'clock Artik, the Dup Artik. That's when Krishna comes back with the cows playing his Murli. And that is the 4 o'clock Artik. For the Artik in the temple, we say that Krishna is taking a nap. And in the fields, the cowherd boys are taking a nap, but Krishna sneaks away to Radhakunda to go dancing and playing in the water and swinging and different things with the gopis for 3 hours. And then at 3 o'clock, he goes to the Surya Mandir. Radharani pretends to be doing this puja. Krishna dresses up as a bogus Brahmin, and he offers things with his left hand and talks dirty jokes with the Sanskrit mantras. And then, Jatila thinks it's all real and everything, And so then at 4 o'clock, they go home. Krishna joins his boys, and then they come home. So that's what the Dup Artik, that's what the 4 o'clock Artik is. Then the Shringar Artik. Sandhya Artik. Sandhya Artik is the time when Mother Yasoda has just finished bathing Krishna, giving him his food, and now has been brought into the auditorium of the house of Nanda Baba to watch a magic show or to watch a juggling act. And we are that entertainment. So at night, at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night for Sandhya Artik, that's when we can cook it up and wild and flip out and jump and dance and twirl and tumble, because we are Krishna's entertainment. But not that you do that at 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock in the morning is bhajan time. That's the time it's in the mode of goodness. That's the Brahma Muhurta. This is the only chance, the only 2 hours in 24 that I'm going to be able to pray. So don't go into rock and roll. Use the time to pray to Krishna, to be a devotee. And pray to Tulsi Devi. Tulsi Devi can give love of Godhead. Only Govardhan, Jamuna, and Tulsi Devi in Kali Yuga can give Krishna Prema. So pray to her. And remember the goal. Nikunja me birajo ganashama radhe radhe. Nikunja me biraja ganashama radhe radhe. Nikunja me biraja ganashama radhe radhe. Shama radhe radhe ganashama radhe radhe. Shama radhe radhe ganashama radhe radhe. Nikunja me biraje ganashama radhe radhe. Nikunja me ganashama radhe radhe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Sham. Thank you very much, Prabhus. And I hope you learned something. And I hope that you've been encouraged and that the perfection of life has now been reestablished. And don't forget, we can go outside, we can keep talking about that boy. There's no need to stop. You know, let's just keep Krishna going. Let's keep the fire going. And remember, this is the goal. And tell somebody about Krishna. I only ask one thing from you. With the straw in my teeth and I bow to your lotus feet. Please, 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 say something about Krishna every day. Let's do it. Let's put the Hare Krishna movement back on the map as one of the greatest things that ever hit this planet. Let's make Prabhupada proud of us.